Hello students, so today we will be starting with a new topic, the new topic of History Class 11 book Writing and City Life. So let me give you the overview point of the writing and city life. Now what do you mean by writing and the city life? You see first writing being emerged in Mesopotamia and how it has led to city life. Let us understand the overview point of the Mesopotamia city. Now, Mesopotamia and its geography. Now you see, before Iraq was considered to be Mesopotamia. Iraq is a land of diverse diverse environment. In the northeast lie green undulating plains and gradually rising tree-covered mountain ranges with clear stream and white flowers with enough rainfall to grow crops. Now, just let me give you an overview point regarding the northeast side of the Mesopotamia. The northeast side of the Mesopotamia was highly greenery, where there were lots of forests and lots of natural environment was there. Then comes the agriculture. The agriculture was much common during the 7000 BCE to 6000 BCE. That time agriculture came into the rising. In the north there is a stretch of upland. Now there was a stretch of upland which is called the steppe. Now what do you mean by steppe? Steppe are mountains where agriculture is being performed. It is being performed step by step. So for that reason that is considered to be a steppe. Or steppe is known as the greenlands. The greenlands or the greenery places where the plants are being planted in a step-by-step position, where animals herding offer people a better livelihood than agriculture. During that time, pastoralism or animal herding was much more lucrative or much more profitable in comparison to agriculture. To the east, tributaries of the Tigris provide routes of communication. Now the Tigris River. The Tigris River is in the Mesopotamia city in the northeast of Mesopotamia, where it has provided routes of communication to the other parts. It provides routes of communication into the mountains of Iran. Now Tigris comes to the mountain and it is followed as the routes of communication to the mountain places itself. The south is a desert. Now the south is the arid region. It is highly deserted, but that place is considered to be more productive in comparison to the northeast region, where the first cities and writing emerged. Now you see in the deserted part of the Mesopotamia city in the South Mesopotamia, the writing first emerged and cities were being developed. This desert could support cities because the river Euphrates and Tigris carry fertile loads of silt. Now the rivers Euphrates and Tigris, they carried fertile loads of silt. As a result, it was much supportive to the deserted region of the Mesopotamia. You need to remember two of the important rivers of Mesopotamia. The two important rivers of Mesopotamia is Euphrates and the Tigris River. After the Euphrates has entered the desert, its water flow into the small channel. Now, Euphrates used to provide water to the small channels, and those small channels were very much supportive to the southern Mesopotamia. Now, it has functioned as the banks and in the past functioned as the irrigation channels. Now, the Euphrates River also supported as the irrigation channels, which was much more supportive to the agricultural purposes as well. Now, it was southern Mesopotamia that was much more productive. Yes, the southern Mesopotamia region was much more productive in considered to the eastern region, just because for the Euphrates River. As a result, there comes the development of the cities. I hope you have understood the part of the Euphrates River and the Tigris River. Now let me give you a map overview of the Mesopotamia. Now you see, this is the Mesopotamia. Place. Now here is the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. This is the Tigris River and this is the Euphrates River, quite adjacent to each other. And this Euphrates River provides the flow of channel to the southern region of the Mesopotamia, which is an arid region. And here comes the Tigris River. The Tigris River comes from the mountainous region and then provides the channels to the other mountainous region as well. I hope you have understood. Now you see the Euphrates River and the Tigris River actually provides much greenery to the northern region of Mesopotamia. And here comes the southern region where they are getting fertility from the Euphrates River. I hope you have understood. And one more thing, let me tell you, the first town. The first towns are being emerged from the southern part of Mesopotamia. Here you can see it has been mentioned where the first towns where the first towns came in the southern region of Mesopotamia. I hope you have got the overview of the map. Now, let me tell you regarding the significance of urbanism, which is very much important, how urbanism took place during that time. Now, cities and towns. Now, cities and towns. You see, cities and towns are not just places with large population. It is when an economy develops. Now, very, very important comes the economy develops. When there is emerging of the cities, why the cities are being emerged? Just because the economy is developing. As the economy is developing, slowly the food production is also improving, which can be distributed to the other people of that region. As a result, the cities emerge. The cities are considered to be the advanced part of the village population. Now you see, it is not only comprising the large population, it is also comprising the improvement of the economy in general. Now comes the urban economies. You see, the urban economies is comprised of production, trade, manufactures and services. Now you see, if I talk about the urban economy, trading is much common during that time. Also food production, manufacturers and services are also much common. For that reason only, the cities were being advancing during that time. And also city. If I talk about the city, cities are being developed just because they are interacting with the other people of the cities. If they interact with the people of the other cities, then only their trading will develop more. For instance, the carver of a stone. This is one of the small example that I want to give regarding the stone sill, the carver of a stone sill. You see, if an individual is a carver of a stone sill, he need to have the requirements, he need to have the sufficient tools so that they can carve a particular stone. So as a result, he is not a trader, but he has to make sure that all the tools are available to him so that he can carve a particular stone. So as a result, that time the trading came into a common purposes, or the interaction with the other people of the cities came into general, which means you see the carver of a stone, it is his profession, but he need to have the sufficient tools so that he can carve a particular stone. So this is the example which is giving as a division of labor, which is a mark of urban life. Now you see the division of labor. The division of labor, which means that each and every individual has its own profession. The profession is divided into their own work as general, so that there is division of labor, which is known as the mark of urban life or the urban civilization. Now you see, beside he needs regular supplies of charcoal for fuel. There will be some people who will be carving a stone. There will be some people who will be trading other tools, such as wood and stones will be available to the carver of the seal. And there will be other people who will be supplying him charcoal and fuel, so that he can go with the work in progress. As a result, the work is being divided into different individuals, which is considered to be the division of labor, which is a mark of the urban life. Those places also comprise social organization. As I have told you about the division of labor, now we will be understanding about the social organization. Social organization is an important part of a city life. You see, fuel, metal, various forms, wood, etc. come from different places for city manufacturers. Now you see, fuel, metal, and also other stones and woods are being traded or are being transferred from one place to another, so that the work may go on. So as a result, there was organized trade and storage were being provided. Why the storage system or the warehouses are being provided? So that the food which is being produced are to be kept in the warehouses or in the storage units. You see, deliveries of grain and other food items from the village to the city, and food supplies need to be stored and distributed. Now you see, deliveries of grain. There were deliveries of grain, production of the grains were also there, so that those grains can be stored in the warehouses. How people were advanced during that time? Many different activities have to be coordinated, such as bronze tools and stones available for seal cutters. Now, most of the tools are being provided to the seal cutters as well, such as the bronze tools and the stones, so that they can cut the seal or they can carve the seal for the good purposes. I hope you have understood. This is the significance of urbanism. Now you see, one question may come regarding the division of labor. Why division of labor is considered to be a mark of the urban life? Just because there was the division of the profession and each individual has its own profession. As a result, due to the advancement of the economy and the advancement of the trading, this comes as the mark of the urban life, or the division of the labor. I hope you have understood. Now, after urbanism, we will be understanding about the development of writing. Now, what do you understand as the development of writing? As I have told you before also, that the development of writing first comes from the southern Mesopotamia. All societies have languages in which certain sounds convey certain meanings. This is verbal communication. Now, it conveys certain meanings. You see, there were spoken sounds. There were spoken sounds which is also considered to be a verbal communication. But there was no fixed language. No fixed language was there. During that time, early languages were Greek and Latin. Though here it has been told about the spoken sounds which have certain meanings. Now, writing too is a verbal communication. During that time, writing was considered to be a verbal communication, but in different ways. Now, what are the ways? When we talk about writing, or a script, we mean that the spoken words are represented in visible signs. Now see, they want to convert that writing as a verbal communication. As a result, they used to engrave some of the signs on a seal. Engrave some of the signs on a seal so that they can understand the language clearly. During that time, people used to believe in keeping the records. As a result, the seals came into use, or the cuneiform. Cuneiform I will be explaining you later, but first we will be understanding about seals, that how most of these signs or the symbols were conserved in a seal so that people understand the languages, or they can convert those languages into a writing part. The first Mesopotamia tablets written around 3200 BCE. Now the tablets, these are considered to be the Mesopotamia tablets. Those seals are considered to be the Mesopotamia tablets which came into common during 3200 BCE, which contains pictures like signs, symbols and numbers. Those signs and pictures are mostly of the animal sign or the other letters as well, those early letters which are not deciphered till now, or which are not decoded till now. There were about 5,000 lists of oxen, fish, bread, loaves, etc. List of goods that are bought into or distributed from temples of Uruk, a city in the south. Now here, Uruk. You have heard about the word Uruk. Uruk was one of the earliest cities in the southern Mesopotamia. So as a result, the first trading started in the Uruk city itself. Here the symbols of oxen, bread, loaves were also being engraved on a particular seal or tablet. Clearly, writing began when society needed to keep records of the transaction. Now, as people want to keep the record of the transaction, as a result, the tablets came much into common. So, because in the city life, transaction occurred at different times and involved many people and a variety of goods. Now, in a city life, people used to interact with each other. Trading was also much in common. As a result, the transactions are being kept as a record on the seals as well, or in the tablets as well. You see, those signs and symbols were considered to be much importance to the people during that time. Mesopotamia wrote in the tablets of clay. Very, very important. Mesopotamia wrote in the tablets of clay. Now, what are those tablets of clay? You see, a scribe would wet clay and pat it into a size he could hold comfortably in one hand. He would carefully smoothen its surface with the sharp end of a reed cut obliquely. He would press wedge-shaped signs onto the smoothened surface while it was still moist. Now you see a scribe. A scribe is a wet clay. On those wet clay, signs and symbols were being engraved, and when it has been finished, the side parts are being smoothened. The side parts are being smoothened so that it looks very clear to the people around. Also, you see, once dried in the sun, the clay would harden and tablets would almost be indestructible as pottery. Now, it was a wet clay before, but when it is dried up under the sun, it becomes hard enough, just like a pot. So here, how people used to engrave those signs on symbols on the wet clay and then used to dry under the sun to make it more hard or indestructible. So here, how people used to engrave those signs on symbols on the wet clay and then used to dry under the sun to make it more hard or indestructible. So here, how people used to engrave those signs on symbols on the wet clay and then used to dry under the sun to make it more hard or indestructible. indestructible just as a pottery. As we have understood about the writing part, that how Mesopotamian tablets were much common during the 3200 BCE, we will be understanding about the cuneiform part. Now, what do you mean by the cuneiform? You see, those tablets were being considered afterwards as cuneiform. Now, how cuneiform were common during that time? You can see the pictures of the cuneiform. Here you see, by 2600 BC or so, the letters became cuneiform, or the language was Sumerian. Now, this is one of the most common thing. The language was Sumerian. You see, some of the signs and symbols which are engraved on the tablets, they are considered to be letter part as cuneiform, and also it was written in the Sumerian language. Now, that language, Sumerian language, is an early language. Now this language is not common and there is no language of Sumerian right now. But during that time, Sumerian is considered to be the early language which are being communicated by the Mesopotamian people. The letters became cuneiform and the language was Sumerian. Writing was now used not only for keeping records but also for making dictionaries. Now, writing. Writing was used not only for keeping records. As I have told you, to keep the transaction records, people used to believe in writing. People used to believe in engraving seals on the tablets. But right now, they have converted it into making dictionaries, giving legal validity to land transfer. Now, slowly, people are converting themselves into writing legal documents. Now, legal documents are also being written in the cuneiform. You see, making dictionaries. People started making dictionaries, and also regarding the land transfer. The legal documents regarding the land transfers are also being engraved on the cuneiform. The deeds of the kings and announcing the changes the king had made in the customary laws of the land. Now, slowly, people have started engraving laws of the lands on the cuneiform, or you can say they have started writing those laws and with the help of the symbols on the cuneiform. Sumerian, the earliest language. Now, Sumerian, the earliest language, is being replaced by the Akkadian language. During that time, in 2400 BCE, before that, Sumerian was a much common language, but afterwards it was replaced by the Akkadian languages. People started working on the Akkadian languages or communicating in the Akkadian language. Cuneiform writing in the Akkadian language continued in use until the 1st century, that is more than 2000 years. Now, cuneiform writing. If I talk about the cuneiform writing, now it is much more popular in the Akkadian languages, in the Akkadian languages, and it has been continued until the 1st century, which means more than 2000 years it has been continued. So what I have told you, the Sumerian languages which have been converted into Akkadian languages is now written in the cuneiform, which is common till the 2000 years or till the 1st century BCE. I hope so you have understood about the word BCE, and you have understood about the word BCE. BCE is known as the before common era. Before common era. And AD is considered to be Anno Domini. You see, as a history student, most of the students must be aware about BCE and AD. Students study history, but they are not aware of the term BCE and AD. BCE is BCE, which means before common era, and AD means Anno Domini. I hope you have understood about the following topics that we have discussed. And if you want to know any of the courses regarding Bhadra Academy, you can call us in this number 863839171. I hope so you have liked my explanation. Meet you in the next class.